We had a few problems pressing buttons, but when does it not happen? Everybody gets these things. So I'll try to cover as many subjects as possible, and thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. I just want to clear the air about a few things. I'm getting choked up. Do you plan on going to any conventions for signings this year? No plans yet. Obviously, the phone's ringing all the time with all kinds of ideas, but my dance card is pretty full. When is the Gene Simmons band coming to the USA? I thought I was going to jump on the Deep Purple tour, but that fell through. I swallowed a frog, or whatever that phrase is. So at some point in the near future, anything's possible. Will you do another event like the one you did in Vegas last year? I didn't know people were asking about that, so I may actually do that. Stay tuned to your Bat channel. Would you or Paul consider doing a Kiss cruise with some key bands? Sure. Why not? So Stephanie Mariel says, what exactly have you done since December the 2nd? Well, we went up to Whistler, where Shannon's got a she shed on the lake and everything. We spent time there through the new year, hiked, saw about as much snow as I could take, and then we came back. And since then, I've been busy with our film company, our restaurant chain. All of a sudden, the Gene Simmons band is getting shows for festivals, so lots of stuff. Rich Kosak says, hey, Gene, if you changed one Kiss album cover, which one would you change? Let's see. I don't know. I guess for their time, they seemed like the right thing at the right place at the right time. I don't have a problem with them. Would you ever perform your version of the Beatles' Rain as you did when you took the family to Abbey Road years ago? Scott Overfelt says, sure. Rain was the B-side to one of the records they put out, and has always been one of my favorites. It was the first song I ever heard where the entire verse was played backwards, which was a fascinating thing. Rain. And so I was always fascinated by that. Mark McKay from London said, I've read many years they used to play Go Now by the Moody Blues. Is this true? It actually is. When Paul and I were putting together what became Kiss, it was just a trio before Ace joined us. We used to do a kind of a power trio of Go Now by the Moody Blues, which was a cover, by the way. It was not done by them. It was done by a blues singer whose name escapes me, but you can Google and schmoogle it. Who was the original Go Now recording artist? And we used to do a pretty cool version. That's actually not a bad idea. I may consider doing that. Sarah Burke, of course Sarah, says, did you get to choose what cities and countries you visited when you went on tour, or was this all decided by your management? It was all decided. I just work here. Did you get lessons when you were younger on the bass, or did you teach yourself? I taught myself. If you don't already have natural ability, is it possible to excel at an instrument if you only teach yourself? Actually, you can. There's the 10,000 hour principle, which is the longer you spend time on something, the better you get. There's such a thing as muscle memory, mind memory, and so on. So there's the 10,000 hour principle that if you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you're going to get pretty good doing it. There's nothing that beats hard work. What are you going to miss most about no longer touring as Kiss? Well, obviously, getting in front of you guys. No greater love hath man or woman. There's no such thing. You can't buy it in a store, that love that we felt for 50 years. Would you return to acting now that Kiss is no longer touring? Loved your performance and wanted Dead or Alive. Yeah, well, they killed me. How about that? They put a grenade in my fucking mouth and blew my head off. I lost my head. Actually, what's going to happen is American Idol just asked me to pop on, so I'm going to be on American Idol April the 17th, and then I think for the live version, April 21st, and then quickly head off to South America to headline. Yeah, the Gene Simmons Band is headlining a day at the Summerfest there in Sao Paulo for, I don't know, 50 or 60,000 fans. John Kulina from Albuquerque says, would you tell us one of the most embarrassing moments on stage? Oh, I've crapped in my diaper once or twice. Then you got to wait for the whole show to be over to wipe. Cody Crypt, what a great name. Cody Crypt, Krypt. Gene, I'd love to know what your experience was like specifically tracking bass in the studio for the first 3 albums. Well, at the time, we basically played live in the studio. There wasn't enough time or experience for us to know, okay, maybe I'll start with the bass or put a guitar down, then put the bass on. We basically played as a trio in the studio and then started to double the guitars and so on. Al Hawthorne says, what do meet and greets look like in the future? My son was born January 19th. We'd love for him to meet you. You know what? I don't know. As time develops, we're going to figure stuff out. In a lot of ways, Kiss has ended, but it's also beginning. You'll see what I mean. The future is going to be astonishing. But Kiss, the touring band, has stopped playing. Jennifer Boyd Harper. Jennifer, 2 names are enough. What do you got to have, a third one? Tell us a funny story or life experience that you'll never forget. I don't think I should do that. It's a family place. It probably involves a farm animal or 2. I should probably not. Ann Harmon says, how's your beautiful family doing? You're so kind. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Shannon just left to go by Beverly Hills. Sophie just came back from Norway, where she was writing with some other writers and performers. And I'm not allowed to comment about Nick and his musical stuff because he wants to be anonymous. So no comment. But everybody's healthy and happy, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Stephen Evans, what's the weirdest object someone has asked you to autograph? It was actually a prosthetic leg that went up mid-thigh. It was during the recording. We played 3 days at the Forum in 1804, before you were born, Stephen. So we were recording Kiss, not Roman numeral 2, live. And literally in the middle of the concert, we saw somebody holding up a prosthetic leg, like a pink leg with sock and sneaker at the bottom. So we stopped the concert and held up this leg and started signing the leg and then handed it back down. I would assume the person whose leg it was holding on to somebody so they wouldn't fall over. Remo Sabatini. Remo Sabatini. In your opinion, what's the secret to chasing dreams so that they can become reality? Remo, I don't want to romanticize it, but there's just no substitute for hard work. There isn't. I'm inspired. I have a dream. When you see all the singing shows, all the qualification you need is to sing in the shower. And no, actually in the real world, you have to put in the time and pay your dues, and that means lots of hard work. Igor Segs, S-E-G-U-E-S, says, any news about your film producer role? Well, we have a new film company called Simmons Hamilton. Our first film is Deep Water. It's going to be in 3,000 motion picture movie houses in America alone. The first movie is Deep Water, starring Sir Ben Kingsley, Aaron Eckhart, and we're very excited by it. Directed by Rennie Harlan, who directed Avalanche with Stallone and Die Hard and stuff like that. And our second film comes out a few months after that, before Christmas. And we're starting our third film, April, with a Marvel Comics guy who's really doing a cool thing. Rob Frame says, what's one thing you've done that you regret doing and one thing you didn't do that you regret not doing? I'm not sure how to answer the first part because my conscience is pretty clear. No drugs, no booze, never hurt anybody that I can recall. One thing that I do regret is not having the come to Jesus moment with Peter and with Ace earlier on, when there was trouble in paradise and they started to abuse themselves here and there. We should have put our foot down much earlier because we should have cared enough to say, look, you're ruining your life. It's going to affect the band. And if you continue down this road, you're not going to be in the band. We unfortunately waited years before having that discussion. So I apologize for that. Brad Deso, if you were to present anything you own for historical reference in a time capsule for fans of the future, what would it be and why? My schmeckel. Mary Kay Hemingway, not Hemingway, why did you pick bass instead of guitar? I'm actually a pragmatist. I noticed when I was growing up, everybody wanted to be in a band. Nobody wanted to be a drummer because you got to lug around stuff and it takes forever to. And everybody wanted to either sing or play guitar. Well, there are only so many singers and so many guitar players. I learned how to play guitar a little bit first, but I figured if I picked up a bass, I'd have a better chance of being in a band. It worked out pretty good. Joanne Hornsteiner, God bless you. Besides your family and music, what's the one thing you can't live without? Family is everything. I know it sounds cornball. When I was a kid and a teen, and all that stuff, I used to say, God, get over it. Shut up. That's not the most important. No, it is. It really is. There's nothing more important than your kids and the person who loves you more than anybody, and that's the mother of your children. Zoltan from Budapest, Hungary. Én beszélek magyarul, so tudom, hogy Zoltan egy magyar név. I just said some stuff to Zoltan from Budapest in Hungarian. Where do you get the energy to keep your passion for rock music strong when you're on the road? You love it or you don't. The more you love something, the harder you'll work for it. Many people are looking for jobs. If you love what you're doing, it's the love of labor, not getting a job. People go to jobs because they have to, but if you love working, it's the labor itself. Joseph Polo, if you could spend the day and write a song with any musician, who would it be? It used to be Bob Dylan, but then Bob came over and we actually wrote some songs together. They were on The Vault, the largest box set of all time. Blake Webb, what's the lasting impact you hope KISS has going forward? I don't know, other than maybe we raised the expectations that fans have when they go to see shows. Because when I was a kid and I went to see a show, musicians would look at their shoes and think they're doing you a favor by putting on a concert. After we did fireworks and all that stuff, everybody, even wrestling, stuck in fireworks and show and all that stuff. So maybe we raised the bar. Mike Campion, Gene, did you spit blood on any of the first shows, the Lick It Up tour? Yes. The very first show we did was in Lisbon, Portugal. It's funny, I've met people who believe Lisbon is in Spain. It's not, it's in Portugal. That was the first show without makeup. And I did actually spit blood during the Lick It Up tour there, but it didn't feel right, so I soon stopped doing that. Beth McDonald, if you could go back and speak to your 8-year-old self, what is the one piece of advice you'd give your little self to help the future? Chaim ani yodea shema. Oh, I started to talk to my 8-year-old self, which means I have to speak Hebrew. See what I did there? I would say just keep on going on. Don't change a thing. Just keep working hard and you'll get there, which is a good piece of advice to anybody. Sylvie Roost, you still have dreams you want to realize, and if so, can you share them? You bet your bippy I do. There's all kinds of stuff I want to do, and that looks like the last question. But in all seriousness, the difference between dreamers and people who actually wind up doing something is a big area, and that's called hard work. It's not going to come to you. People from the Middle East say, Muhammad, the mountain ain't coming to you. You got to go to the mountain. So nobody's going to do you a favor, and life is tough, and you're just going to have to work for it, I'm afraid. And when you watch singing shows on TV and everybody's humming and they're, oh, you're a genius, you're great. No, they just don't want to come off badly. Just because you can sing well, it doesn't mean anything. There's Kelly Clarkson, and then there's nobody. Think about it. How many people have won 50, 100 of these contests and not really gone far? You've got to have something else. How about stagecraft? How about learning what to do with your arms, your face, your body? Because your entire body is a communication device, not just your voice. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed what we did here. By the way, in short, go to genesimmonsrecording.com, genesimmonsrecording.com. And if you're one of the lucky fans, I'm going to take you into a Las Vegas recording studio. That's right. And you are going to be recording something I'm going to produce, and you're the only one who's going to be able to take the recording with you. genesimmonsrecording.com. It's going to happen May 4th and 5th. Again, genesimmonsrecording.com. Hope to see you guys later. And thanks for the very kind comments you've been putting on there. And by the way, Kim Perry, Mr. Simmons is Simmons, not Simons. I used to be a 6th grade teacher.
Show him the dog.
You know what I'm saying?